and welcome back to another episode of the Smart Start Recreational Therapy Insights YouTube series. I'm your host, Nathan Lamaster, the founder of Smart CEUs Hub. And guys, thank you so much for stopping by today. I'm just saying this to start out with. If you've been watching this series back when we started episode 1 and to now, you've seen various topics in recreational therapy as we talked about them throughout the year, different guests that came on. And hopefully you found at least a couple of things that interest you. And if you haven't already, the thing that I'm going to ask you to do is hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that notification bell. Guys, don't worry, I'll remind you again at the end. But that actually helps YouTube's algorithm to put these videos in front of more people that are searching for content like this. So like anybody who's looking for recreational therapy content, we have probably the most currently that is out there. And guys, it's been a pleasure creating these. Today, we are on episode 51, which means next week we have episode 52, which is our last episode of the year. And we will be doing kind of a celebration, but also a summary of everything that's happened over the last year. So it'll be a great episode. But guys, today we're going to be talking about a subject that is near and dear to my heart because my company, Smart CEUs Hub, actually provides continuing education for about 5,000 recreational therapists every single year. Now, we have about 20,000 recreational therapists in the field, and we serve about 1/4 of them every single year. And they have a 5-year research cycle, which means that every 5 years they have to go and apply for renewal with NCTRC, which is the National Council for Therapeutic Recreation Certification, and then they're able to continue with their CTRS, which is Certified Therapeutic Recreation Specialist certification through NCTRC. Well, guys, we're going to talk about why continuing education's so important to the field, why it's important to you. We'll talk about what opportunities there are for you in continuing education. We'll talk about why I even decided to start Smart CEUs Hub. But I'm not going to make this all about Smart CEUs Hub or my company. We're just going to talk about continuing education in general for the field and all the different ways that you can get it. Just to not be biased, but obviously I am biased, but not be biased. Guys, all right, thank you so much. Without further ado, let's dive on in. All right, so why does lifelong learning in recreational therapy matter? Well, let me start out with a story, okay? Back when I was in school, I went to school in California at Sac State, which is California State University, Sacramento. That's just how we call it, Sac State. And our program there was called Recreation, Parks, and Tourism Administration with an emphasis on recreational therapy. It was not called recreational therapy or therapeutic recreation. It had a general Parks and Rec with administration, some management stuff with recreational therapy. Now, the reason I bring that up is that other schools have full recreational therapy programs where all the classes that they take within their major are applying to what they're going to be doing. Okay, not every school has that. And the thing is that once you get into the field and start practicing, you'll see that recreational therapists work in a variety of settings with a variety of populations. Okay, we have to know a lot about anatomy, physiology. We have to know about psychology. We have to know about rehabilitation. We have to know about disabilities. We have to know about community services, outdoor recreation, so like camping, etc. We have to know a lot about a lot of different subjects, okay? And then we bring that in, and we're supposed to be ready to practice when we graduate. Well, the truth of the matter is there's only so many classes you can take before you graduate. And there are certain core classes that are required by our field. But once you get into the field, unless you're continuing your education, so you're continuously learning, right, you're going to be so far behind and not aware of a lot of things. So continuing education is essential for us as professionals to be able to do what we're doing when we're helping clients. Okay, so it's our ethical obligation to continue to learn to serve clients, to be the best recreational therapists we can, and not just do it for the paycheck, guys. I have actually met a few recreational therapists in my travels, but also where I used to work. In fact, the guy was teaching emergency preparedness, like what to do in case of a tornado, and calling that recreational therapy. So that was a guy who graduated like 20, 25 years ago. All right, some benefits of continuing education. It keeps you up to date with what the current knowledge, trends, etc. are. It helps you adapt to new populations or settings. If you have never worked with a particular setting and you're interested in maybe starting to work in another setting, it gives you information that you need to know so you felt confident at least when you entered that setting or population. So for instance, a very well-paying job in recreational therapy is working in corrections. So if you're working in the jail system or the prison system and you're a recreational therapist, you could start out making like $80,000 a year. But a lot of recreational therapists don't go into it because it's kind of scary to work with inmates and you could potentially get hurt, right? So the idea is kind of giving them more of an insight of what it's like to actually work in that setting with those clients and what you can actually do and you can't do, before entering that particular setting or population. I myself wouldn't have any idea because that's not what we went over in school. So continuing education would be vitally important for myself, and I'm sure for a lot of you as well. Okay, it makes you more marketable. So being a more proficient person in a particular area and being perceived as an expert allows you to be more marketable in our field. So we have specialty certifications along with our CTRS. So what you have to do in order to get one of those, instead of 50 clock hours within 5 years, you need 70 clock hours within a particular niche of recreational therapy every 5 years. So for instance, that could be behavioral health, geriatrics, pediatrics. It could be adaptive sports, it could be outdoor rec, it could be a lot of different things. And these are extra credentials, extra stamps of this person knows what they're talking about. It helps you out. Right. And another reason continuing education is important, it prevents burnout by fostering growth and excitement towards trying something new instead of doing the same thing over and over and over again every single day of your life. Okay, now we're going to talk about some barriers that some people might have to lifelong learning. And some common obstacles include time constraints. Okay, so a lot of us, we have not only our job, right? We have a family, maybe we go to church, maybe we're involved in some extracurriculars ourselves, some leisure activities, maybe we want to go to the gym and work out, maybe we want to, do a variety of things. But the problem that I hear from most people is they feel like they don't have enough time in the day to do everything that they feel that they need to do. So that goes into consideration for continuing learning. They might think it's important, they might know it's important, but finding time to do the continuing education, to get time off of work, sometimes if you have to get off work, to be able to fly somewhere, to use vacation time, all that stuff, right, can be a hassle for some. And so that time constraint could be a real issue. Another one is the cost of continuing education. So like I was saying, if you're having to fly somewhere, okay, you're looking at like $300 to $500 on average for round trip tickets to go someplace, right, for 3 or 4 days. And then you're looking at the cost for the hotel. And typically at a nice conference for recreational therapy, you're looking at like $150 to $170 a night for some of the hotels that they pick out, unless you're going to like Airbnb or off the conference location. And then you also have registration, you have food, you have everything that goes into that. So cost of CEUs is also really a factor, right? And then limited relevant options for you in your specialty area. So I'm going to mention conferences again. Not that conferences are bad, because conferences are one of the best places, or the best place, to network in your field. If you're interested in making connections with other recreational therapists, you cannot replace that with any other method. So I advise not just doing all of your continuing education online, or through publications, reading them, or whatever else you're doing. Do your continuing education, part of it, in person, if time and money allows you to, so that you can make those connections in the field. Okay, but limited options is a thing. Okay, so like at a conference, they have submissions that are sent to them, they approve them, and then that gets put on the schedule. A lot of times they give you options during the same time slot, so you get to choose which subject you're most interested in. Sometimes there's not even an interesting topic during that time slot, or maybe you're just going because I'm going to get CEUs just to go. Okay, but having limited options doesn't really give you a chance to get more proficient in the things that you're interested in and things you're wanting to do to grow your career. Okay, so solutions to this, right, is one of the reasons why I started Smart CEUs Up, and our motto is bridging the gap in continuing education after graduation. So, for instance, if you are a recreational therapist that has a difficulty finding time, doesn't have a lot of money to go spend on going to conferences and etc., and you're looking for topics that are of interest to you that you could take when and where you want, right? Smart CEUs Hub is the obvious choice. I am biased because I own it, but it's $179 a year for all of the continuing education that you would need for pretty much your lifetime. We have about 400 clock hours almost on the site currently, and we're still growing. Okay, and that means we have a lot of options, and as I said, we only need 50 clock hours every 5 years. So if you can do the math there, that's 8 5-year cycles, right? That's 40 years of your life. It's almost your full career. You could take continuing education and still not run out of content. But yeah, that's what I wanted to plug in right there. But some advice: make a plan, set goals for yourself, and build continuing education into your professional routine. All right, so some creative ways to continue to learn. Not all of the ways I'm going to mention are going to provide you CEUs, but they are valuable ways for you to still continue to grow. Okay, so one is attending webinars and virtual conferences, or doing online continuing education. That's an option. Go to conferences, go in person, meet other recreational therapists, rub elbows with each other. That's a great way. You could listen to RT podcasts or YouTube series, right, like this one, or go on one of the blogs online. You could read research articles if you're really big into statistics and research in the field. You could join professional forums, Facebook groups, etc., to stay connected in the field and learn from other recreational therapists. You could volunteer in a new service area. So you might be like, I want to help ATRA out, and I want to put my name in the ring to get a position on the ATRA board, or on one of their committees, or one of your state committees, whatever the thing might be. And through that, you're going to learn a lot about the bigger picture of our field, rather than like the boots on the ground, doing the actual recreational therapy. But these are all things that help the field out, and you'll learn a ton of things about that. All right, so we're going to wrap up things for today. We're going to talk about you, okay? I'm going to ask you a question. What's your next step towards your own professional and personal growth? Serious question. What are you going to do to be a better you tomorrow? What are you going to do to be a better recreational therapist? Now, whether you're brushing up on what you've already learned, maybe it's been a while and you just need a refresher on a particular topic, or you're diving into something completely new. Okay, you're diving into trauma-informed care, or you know, uh, AI, whatever the thing is in our field. Okay, learning a new intervention technique, or learning a new research outcome, or learning whatever you're learning, make it intentional. Okay, do it on purpose. And lifelong learning will keep our field vibrant with new ideas. It'll keep us growing and being strong, and it keeps you valuable and appreciated. Right, the more you know and the more you understand, working with treatment teams in a hospital or in a community center or wherever you're working, right, you're going to be seen as the person who knows stuff, right? And that's a really good thing when you're looking at getting promoted one year, or maybe a raise, or having a team that really loves you being around, and that really helps encourage you, right? It encourages me when I had a team when I was working at the hospital that did that. Now with Smart CEUs Hub, I have a smart core team, as well as other people that I view as like mentors, or people that I can reach out to in the field that help me re-energize, reinvigorate, and keep me excited. Okay. So some takeaways: continuing education is essential for ethical, effective, or innovative practice. Overcoming common barriers requires planning and creativity. And both formal CEUs, so formal continuing education units, and informal learning help contribute to your professional growth, as well as getting the CEUs in the traditional ways. All right, so next week, we're going to be going into our very last episode of the Smart Start. And it's definitely going to be an emotional one for myself, because we set this goal up a year ago and we have fulfilled our goal, which means we have done 52 episodes at that point, published them consistently on Monday every single week at 7 a.m. Central Time, and provided hopefully content that you found valuable, you learned from, you felt inspired from, and you hopefully will hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, because that'll help our series get out there to more people. All right, join us next week for our final episode number 52, where we'll be doing a year in review and discussing the next steps for the Smart Start. We've got some exciting things to talk about, some things that we've done personally at Smart CEUs Hub over the last year to grow for this next year. As speaking earlier, continuing education is important for myself included, right? As I've never done a YouTube series before, and this is my first one, and now we've completed 52 episodes. So, yay me, guys. Well, without further ado, guys, I hope you have a great week. I know it's Monday, and you got a case of the Mondays. Hopefully, you get some lasagna in you. No, you end up going to work, get some coffee in you, and start your week off right. And guys, remember, as always, recreational therapists, stay classy.